Okay, everyone, welcome to another edition of the Danny Show with another episode of Smackdown Reviews. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, as always, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for your views and everything. Let's get started with tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown from Charlotte, North Carolina. Flair Country, as we like to call it. Woo! Let me tell you, this was one of the best openings to Friday Night SmackDown that I have ever seen in a long, long time. This is one of the best openings ever. We opened the show with the Bloodline coming to the ring. Roman Reigns is at 564 days as champion. He opened up the show as usual, calling for acknowledgement. Paul said, Brock's not here. Brock got stuck in a plane. Nope, he is April Fool's early. Brock Lesnar is there. And when they found out that he actually was there, they all tried to run away. This is what made this one of the best SmackDown. This is one of the best, most exciting things I've ever seen on SmackDown in a while. Brock took a page out of Stone Cold Steve Austin's playbook, commandeering a forklift and ramming it, breaking the glass. I hope the glass shatters didn't put anyone's eye out, but he breaks the glass and carries the SUV. And the only thing I could think of was Triple H when Stone Cold Steve Austin held Triple H in midair. And some of you who have seen my review on Austin 316 Day know I included that match as my favorite Stone Cold match. Survivor Series 2000, where Stone Cold lifted Triple H in a forklift in the air. No, don't do it! Don't do it! Austin, no! Do! Holy shit! That's all I could think of at the moment, whereas when Triple H freaked out. And if that wasn't enough, Brock Lesnar continued chasing the Usos, and he literally, Brock Lesnar, how strong is this guy? Literally ripped the door off of a truck. Wow. And then carried it to the ring and told Roman Reigns that a bipolar beast, as he called himself, was coming for blood. Best SmackDown opening in a long time. We saw a lot of tag team action tonight. One of the tag actions that we saw tonight was Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Or should I say Nakamura? Rah! Always happy to see Pat McAfee having a good time during the entrance versus Los Matadors. And of course, it started off with Shinsuke was isolated and everything. It just doesn't seem like this is the same Shinsuke from NXT that I did a birthday review on a couple of weeks ago. Either way, Shinsuke and Rick fought. Shinsuke was isolated for a little bit, but he fought back. And by the way, the Los Matadors took a page. There is a particular finishing move that Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin does when Shelton leaps over his partner's back and goes onto the opponent's back while they're laying on the ropes. Los Matadors took a move out of that playbook. Rick Boogs tagged in and bench pressed Humberto Carrillo 10 times and then slammed Angel Garza after using him for weights for the victory. But I want to say this. I think Los Matadors could be, darn it, my tongue. Los Matadors could be, darn it. This is just, I'm having a whole bunch of bloopers. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo could be the next Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero. I was watching the WrestleMania matches from WrestleMania 19 yesterday. And when Eddie Guerrero and Chavo came down for that triple threat tag match, we're going to see some triple threat tag action at WrestleMania also. But in this triple threat tag match, I couldn't help but see Eddie and Chavo, and the first two people I thought of were Humberto and Angel Garza. And I think those two could actually be the next generation of those guys. I don't know. But more tag team action coming up. Our next tag team match was a match that was supposed to happen last week but didn't because of a sneak attack gone wrong. And thanks for reminding me why I used to call Magic Mike Joker's former stooge. But either way, this week we actually got Drew McIntyre and the Raiders versus Nabby Corbin and Shanky with Jinder Mahal. Of course, Nappy Corbin comes from the inspiration of Magic Mike and his terrible jokes. For those of you who are new to this channel, are new to my reviews, I call Madcap Moss Magic Mike Moss because he looks like a dancer from Las Vegas. I used to call him the Joker's former stooge because he laughs dramatically a lot, and I thought that he used to work with the Joker. Just funny stuff. But I don't bully. I make jokes about villains, but I never bully anyone. Unlike how we would see when I would make comments about Raw and people would make stupid candy jokes about Piper Niven in her wrestling name known as Doudrop. I hate those candy jokes. You guys must have been real good bullies when you were in school. Thank God I didn't go to your school. Either way, moving forward, the match happened. It was very short. Eric was isolated for a bit before Drew tagged in. But before that, we saw Eric. No, Ivar was isolated. But Eric and Corbin traded shoulder tackles with Eric winning that battle, sending Corbin flying, Nabby Corbin flying. But nonetheless, Ivar was isolated for a little bit, but Drew came in and cleaned house, overpowered Shanky before a Claymore kick. Drew is going to defeat Nabby Corbin at WrestleMania. I bet so. In other news, Sami Zayn threw out a challenge for Johnny Knoxville in an Anything Goes match at WrestleMania, in which Johnny Knoxville accepted. Now let's get to Team Bad versus Raw's own Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. I actually like both of these teams, and they had an incredible match. One of the highlights of that match was when Team Bad was set to suplex Rhea Ripley, and Liv Morgan held them on both shoulders and threw them down. It was an amazing highlight. Great tag team match as Selena and Carmella watched on with them having their own issues I'll explain later. And of course, it was ruined because Natalya and Shayna, whom I thought should align with Ronda Rousey since they're real life best friends, but she's still with Natty and they came, interfered, and ruined the match. However, not necessarily ruined it, but made their names known that now it's going to be a fatal four-way tag team match. So, Carmella, please stop with all this stuff with your husband. Don't ever heard of this. If you ever watch, I don't condone it, but if you ever watch provocative stuff on YouTube, you're familiar with the initials NSFW. That stands for not safe for work. Carmella, get your head on straight and stop worrying about looking pretty. Nobody cares about you looking pretty. Stop worrying about that because this is an NSFW. And take all that stuff home because and I'm betting, this is just my bet, when Carmella and Zelina Vega lose, it will be the death of their friendship, and Vega might just actually turn face for once, and they're going to have a fight because Carmella can't stay focused. And I don't know, I'm rooting, my hope is either Rhea and Liv or Naomi and Sasha, which were my original support lies. In our next news, we have Pat McAfee, who was supposed to give an apology, but instead cut an amazing, not as big as MJF and CM Punk, but it was a great promo. He came out and explained his background, and notice that Pat McAfee broke the WWE rule You're not supposed to say pro wrestling. I don't know why though. I mean, this was the issue that Joey Styles had when he did that amazing pipe bomb in 2006. Why is WWE not allowed to say pro wrestling? In WWE, we're allowed to say sports entertainment and refer to the athletes as WWE superstars and not wrestlers for whatever reason. Either way, I'll say wrestling entertainment. But McAfee said professional wrestling, which apparently is a rule that they are against. But either way, Austin Theory comes out and demands apology after Pat pays homage to The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin with the heck yeah and the millions of millions things. And then he totally owned Austin Theory. I'm sorry your parents created a D bag. I'm sorry that I made you relevant. And I'm sorry that you're a POB. PAB, a PAB, which stands for Punk Ash Biscuit. I said Ash with SH. So, Austin Theory shoves Pat and walks away and runs like a little chicken spit. But either way, Pat is going to kick Theory's ass at WrestleMania. My bet on that. Now, we all know Pat has a couple of mic skills. Let's not forget how he totally owned Adam Cole on the mic that one time in NXT during the pandemic before coming to SmackDown. Let's move on to a short match with Kofi Kingston versus Ridge Holland. Now, for those of you who saw me last week, I was too angry, not angry, but I was mad about what they were doing with Pete Dunne. And if you saw my review last week, you saw me have a fit. I had a fit because I was just so mad at the fact that they would take somebody like Pete Dunne and just ruin everything that he's done. The rivalry that he had with Tony D'Angelo and all the matches he had. Former NXT UK champion. Should have been NXT champion. And they just ruined him by turning him into Butch. I was hot as fire last week. In a playful manner, but I was hot as fire. I'm still a little bit upset of that. Y'all better be glad Brock Lesnar opened up the show and made us feel like we were watching the Attitude Era all over again with him taking forklifts and throwing people down and stuff. You better be glad I'm happy about that. Because last week I had a unholy ghost fit. This week I was so mad that Munchkin Boy, thank you so much. Munchkin Boy reported it to me that Big E suffered a broken neck. And thankfully, we heard that Big E's okay. He can still move around. It's going to take time to get better, but he's still going to recover and he's not destroyed or anything because neck injuries can be an ender of a career. But either way, in fact, Draw's career ended because of a bad landing. When you see careers ended in an instant during that scene on the Don't Try This at Home Ruthless Aggression app, that is Draws being pulled out of the arena after a slam gone wrong in their match with Draws versus D'Lo Brown on SmackDown. So that's why you never try these moves, ladies and gentlemen, because Big E is a professional and he broke his freaking neck. So don't try this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. For real. Either way, moving forward, short match with Kofi Kingston and Ridge Holland, which thanks to Butch, that son of a Butch, Kofi lost again, and of course we see the odds are stacked against Kofi because all of his friends are injured. Darn it. Last but not least, let's talk about Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Now, as you saw at the end of last week's episode, the episode that I reviewed where I was upset about Butch. Now, in an angry way, I was just playfully upset and I had a fit. But anyway, not a childish fit, but most of y'all can agree that what they are doing with Pete Dunne is freaking ridiculous. You gotta love WWE Smackdown and Raw, right? But either way, Charlotte calls out Ronda Rousey in Charlotte's hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina, Flair Country. Woo! Questions Ronda Rousey's passion, care, and everything, and goes back to the making baby joke thing again, or making baby roast rather. And Ronda Rousey is challenged to come to the ring, and like Kayla Braxton pointed out, it was a trap. So Ronda comes out, a brawl is ensued, and Charlotte has a kendo stick. Now that brings back memories to Survivor Series 2018. But they fought, and Ronda tried to fight it off, get the ankle lock, but that's when Charlotte used the kendo stick and put that submission bar on her that she did in the car. And just like last week, she refused, Ronda I'm speaking of, to tap out this week. So Charlotte power bombs Ronda Rousey through a halfway broken table, which Ridge halfway broke with his head when he bumped it. After the powerbomb, Charlotte Flair did a victory pose on Ronda Rousey. I'm telling you guys, we need to have a submission match at WrestleMania. It needs to happen. It has to happen. It has to. But either way, that's my time for now. What do you think about tonight's SmackDown? Let me know in the comment section below. That's all the time I have for you today. I have 100 subbers. Thank you guys so much for helping this channel grow. I really appreciate it. See you next time.